Oh yeah, baby, coming into this game, Raptors have won 9 straight games. The Indiana Pacers had won 3 straight, 7-3 in their last 10, and have jumped Cleveland for 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. So you had ranked number 1 in the East versus number 3 in Indiana, and you knew this was going to be a dogfight right from the get-go, and it was right to the buzzer. However, the Raptors are able to prevail 106-99 over the Pacers, and have now won 10 straight games. One off of the franchise record, which is 11 games. Also, a franchise as of today, they have a franchise record 21 straight games of scoring over 100 points. That is a franchise record. This was game number 21, and I am proud of this team. Once again, the first half, not the greatest, but you stay in the ball game enough that in the second half, you can take over and win the game. First half, again, the offense wasn't really rolling. You only scored, 49 points in the end of the first half. You're only shooting, 43% or something like that. Not so great, And the team really wasn't moving the ball that much. There was a lot of turnovers. I don't know what the exact number was at the half, but I know it was a ton, and that was a big issue. But this team, down the stretch, has found ways to win, and I thought later in the game they were taking more care. They were taking more care of the basketball, and when they were getting their shots, they were knocking down their shots. I think this is the second game in a row that we have seen C.J. Miles go like 0 of 3 or 0 of 4, and then down the stretch in the third and fourth quarter, more or less the fourth quarter, knock down 2 or 3 in a row and gets hot that you just start feeding him and he just comes up clutch for you. Were there times where this team really struggled? Yes. But I got to give credit to the big men. The big men, period. Serge Ibaka and Jonas Valanciunas both get double-doubles in this game. Ibaka 13 points, 11 rebounds. JV 16 and 16. And Ibaka was only 5 of 13 shooting. JV was 5 of 13 shooting as well. So, and JV, of course, death taxes JV's threes. Why not? I love that saying. That is a terrific. I don't know how they came up with that, but that's terrific. What JV did today, now his percentages aren't great, but you saw how hard that guy was working. Especially with Al Jefferson, who turned back the clock and went 20 and 12. I mean, it was a joke of a game for him, but down the stretch, he couldn't make their shots. The Raptors made their shots, and that's really all that matters. You look at the third and fourth quarter, the Raptors only, you look at the first 2 quarters, the Raptors give up, 57 points in the first half. That's not that great, especially when your offense isn't so great, but you're only down 8 at the half. It's not all that bad. You're right in the game. Then, in the third quarter, you only score 28, so not a crazy amount. However, your defense tightens up, and you only give up 22. So now, you're only stuck 2 after 3 quarters. And then you see in the fourth quarter, the Raptors defense just gets so tight and makes everything tough for the Indiana Pacers, as well as them missing some open looks. But hey, it's the same with every team. You're going to miss an open look once in a while. They miss some. Again, fourth quarter, you only give up 20. You only give up 42 points in the entire second half. That has kind of been, a reoccurring theme for this team as of late. They've been having tough first quarters, but they've been hanging around. And then in the third and fourth, they really make their huge punch, and they find ways to win. Now, I'd much prefer it if they have a good first half as well. But having a good end of the game is key. You saw in the Nets game, D'Angelo Russell was great off the start and did nothing or not much at all the rest of the way, and neither did the Brooklyn Nets team overall. This game, they were playing very well in the first half. They were playing tough defense, and their offense was cooking. Second half, they weren't going, but we were hanging around just enough that we put our punch in, and it was great. I am proud of these guys because the Indiana Pacers, look, this is not a team that you should cakewalk through. They're third in the Eastern Conference for a reason. They do not have Paul George anymore, and they're still a very solid team. I'm not taking anything away from the Pacers. They are a terrific ball club. To be able to lose your perennial all-star, your cornerstone of your franchise, I like the Raptors losing DeMar and pretty much being better without him. You can't really think of it, but it's the chemistry. It's the way they work. I am proud of their team. I really am. As an NBA fan, that's great to see. But you know what else is great to see? Raptors get another victory, 10 straight. They are now 9 wins away from 60 wins. They have to go 9-5 the rest of the way to hit that mark. Do you guys think they can do it? I think so. Now that they've won 10 straight, this is terrific, but they got to keep rolling. Take it game by game, do your job against the teams you have to beat, and on these tough games, grind and find ways to win. The Raptors, they go on a short road trip of 3 games. They sweep the road trip. I am proud of these guys. You know, DeMar and Kyle. DeMar had 24 points, 6 rebounds on 8 of 15 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, 6 of 7 from the line. Kyle Lowry was only 3 of 10 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3 is pretty darn good, 4 of 4 from the line. But the thing I love about what I saw from DeMar and Kyle was their defense, because they were very active. And they were also plus 12 and plus 13 while they were on the floor. And Serge Ibaka was plus 15. You got to give those guys credit. Again, the bench, they were more or less minuses, except for DeLon Wright, who was only a plus 2. And you know what? This is what I've loved from Dwayne Casey over the past little while. You know, we saw earlier in the year, and even in past years, he just runs with the specific rotation, and that's it. But what we've seen kind of in like the second half of the season, or the after like the 30-game mark, or in that mix somewhere, he's riding hot hands. What have we gotten used to seeing? We've gotten used to seeing Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet out there in the fourth quarter. Well, what did we see today? We saw DeLon Wright out there in crunch time. Why? Because he was playing so well. Now, his stat line, he only had the 8 points. However, he was the only plus player on the bench, but he was giving you great defense. The ball was humming. He looked great. VanVleet only had the couple points on 1 of 4 shooting, and he missed the 1 3 he took, and he was minus 9 on the floor after that big plus 31 performance. But you ride the hot hand, and he did. And that's the way you should coach. I'm proud of Coach Casey for doing that. Pascal Siakam in 20 minutes of work, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 5 of 7 shooting, 2 of 2 from the line. Terrific job. Like I said, CJ Miles ended up 3 of 9 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3 against his former team. But again, those 3 threes were in the fourth quarter in big moments. When you're down by 4 and you miss that shot, they come down, and it's a completely different story. But instead, you knock down the 3, you make it a 1-point game, and you just keep rolling from there. You know, I'm proud of this team because CJ Miles, they trust him, and I'm glad they do. As much as there are times where like the shot selection, you just want to pull your hair out when it comes to CJ. I get that because he was like 0 of 3, 0 of 4 to start the game. And against your former team, I get it. You want to try and force it. I get it. Same with Corey Joseph. He was probably feeling the same way a little bit. Speaking of Kojo, he only had the 6 points on 2 of 7 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3, and he was a minus 12 on the floor. So that's that. But I am proud of this team for the way they dig in defensively in the fourth quarter. And I think that's a big reason of why this team is so good. Yes, we don't know what we're going to see in the first half from one game to the next, but we've kind of gotten used to a second half push by the Raptors, and they find ways to win. I'm proud of these guys. You know, do they shoot the ball well in this game? No, 44%. They get their 12 threes, 38% shooting isn't all that bad. 86% from the free throw line, 24 of 28. That is huge. On the glass, you out rebound them by 22. The offensive glass, rebound them by 8, 19 to 11. The assists, we didn't even get 20 assists, only 19. So you wouldn't say the ball was humming as much, but the team did enough to get the victory. But the one thing we have to really clean up moving forward, and it's not going to be a big issue, but it's just this one game it was, the turnovers. 19 turnovers for the Raptors, not good enough. But hey, That's going to happen from one game to the next. It's what you do in the next one that really matters. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoyed this video. You guys enjoyed this game. Smack that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below. What'd you guys think of this game? Who's your MVP? Would you give it to JV? Would you give it to DeMar? Would you give it to CJ for some big threes late in that game? I want to hear what you guys have to say. We'll talk to you guys Tuesday podcast, as we'll be talking Raptors, Leafs, Jays, and around the league. I mean, there's going to be a lot to talk about on Tuesday. We'll talk to you guys Monday, Blue Jays edition. Again, we're that much closer to the season getting going, and there's a lot more questions swirling around the team. We'll talk to you guys then. We'll talk to you guys very shortly, Leafs edition, as they beat Buffalo. Thank you. And we'll talk to you guys Raptors edition tomorrow, back-to-back, back at the Air Canada Center, taking on the Dallas Mavericks, looking to tie the franchise record, 11 straight wins. We'll talk to you guys then.